Welcome Yamhill County to Speaking Frankly. I'm your host, Howie Harkema, and our tagline is, "And how we doing?" Today I have a great number of people here. Brian Sauer from the McMinnville Lions Club. We have Jordan Barich, who's the wrestling coach at McMinnville High School. Yep. We have Jacob Barnes, who's a wrestler. And we have Lucien LeFevre.
Yeah.
Who's also a wrestler. And we're going to talk about the Lions Club annual Christmas tree sales. And we're going to start out with how did this arrangement come about between the McMinnville Lions Club and the McMinnville High School wrestling team, Brian?
So I've been a member of the Lions for 25 years and worked the tree lot for that many years. And when my grandkids were big enough to come down to the tree lot and help out, I'd bring them along and they'd help us some, but have a lot of fun along with it. And
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah, and they really enjoyed doing that. And they were all the boys are wrestlers. And a couple of the Lions members were wrestlers in high school, and we're getting older as a Lions club.
No.
And we can't lift those trees up on the cars like we used to.
I understand.
So we thought, boy, there's some good muscular kids here that work out all year, and they'd be able to help us out. And so we approached the coach and the team and said, hey, how about if we get your boys to come in and help us out throughout the tree lot season, and we'd make a donation to their program. And so that started officially a year ago. So this is entering our second year, and we're all excited about starting over again.
That's awesome. Coach, was it hard to get the boys to want to do this?
Not really. Once, Jake has been doing it for a little while, and he kind of being a leader on our team, told the rest of them that it's pretty fun, actually. And so by the end of last Christmas season, I had people volunteering to do more shifts even when theirs were complete and wanting to get down there. And instead of sending 2 to 3 wrestlers a day, we had about 4, 5, 6 of them going, and so they were excited about it.
Well, it sure helps out the Lions group because, as he stated, we're not getting younger, and it's hard to lift stuff. These two probably could lift just about anything together.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's awesome. So what is the benefit to the McMinnville Lions Club and the McMinnville wrestling team? Any of you?
I'll start. I think it's a great opportunity for our kids to get out in the community and help others. Meet people. The Lions Club, in return, gives us a donation, but it's not really about that for us. No, it's about getting these guys out, interacting with adults, and just helping out the community and getting out there and being involved in things outside of sports.
Well, to learn to give back in service to a community early, especially in high school, is fantastic.
Right.
Because then they carry that on to their lives for a long, long time, teach it to their children as well. So,
and from the Lions' point of view, is of course they provide some good labor for us, and and allow. At the start, it allowed us more time to spend selling the trees.
Sure.
And we didn't have to worry about loading them on the cars or bringing new ones in to stack into the racks. But they started selling them as well. They picked up real early on how we go about demonstrating trees and things like that. And the interaction between the Lions and the wrestlers is great. It works both ways. We learned a lot from them, and we realize what great kids are coming through our schools.
Sure. And they're technologically more advanced than any of us.
Absolutely.
I mean, they can do anything.
Yes.
And I've learned a lot from high school kids because my grandkids are all mostly high school kids. So.
Yes.
What do the shifts look like for the student wrestlers that come through? I know it's different for each wrestler. So.
Yeah, so each one of our athletes we have them work at least one 4 to 5 hour shift throughout the December, and it's some are on Saturdays, some are on Sundays, depending if they're wrestling or not that weekend.
Right.
And, at least, but like I said earlier, most of them will be volunteering to work 2 or 3 shifts by the end of it because they enjoy getting out there and helping.
That's awesome. So we're going to come over to you guys. So effectively doing those shifts. I know, Jacob, you've been doing this since you were a tiny little boy, probably.
Oh, yeah.
But Lucien,
Yeah.
What is it like for you?
Like, well, for me, like, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, like doing a 3-hour shift or a 7-hour shift or whatever it takes.
I think for me personally, I just got a job this summer, so it was like good experience to like have that feel of like working for someone, but
Sure.
like getting that work experience down. So then when I went to my job, I kind of knew what it was like and knew what I was going into, versus just like, I don't know, just lollygagging, playing around.
Internet around.
Yeah.
How about you, Jake?
Well, you know, I love working at the tree lot a whole lot, but like when I work at the tree lot now, it's different because back then it used to be, you know, I would hang out with my grandpa and the Lions members, but now there's like people I know from school there, and every once in a while I see like a kid come through from the high school to buy a Christmas tree, and he's like, whoa, that's Lucien, that's Jake. They're working here right now. And it's super fun. I mean, like, no matter how long the shift is, I always find a way to have a lot of fun.
So it's a good work experience for you growing up as well. So when you both get jobs out of high school, you'll have a real rough magnitude idea of what to do and how to answer to somebody and be answerable and responsible. That's awesome. So how many hours are the wrestlers participating in, how many days? Is it just Saturday and Sunday?
The wrestlers just help us out on Saturdays and Sundays. That's our really big days. We're open 9 in the morning until 8 at night, and that's when everybody's off work. They're coming in. It gets really, really busy. And before, we couldn't always keep up with all the customers. We had people drive away. So this originally started out helping us to contact those people and work with them and sell trees. And but now with all the wrestlers able to do everything, we're just going like gangbusters. It's helped a lot. But during the week, we have Lions that man the lot.
That's good. So the Monday through Friday is the Lions Club specifically.
Correct.
And then Saturday, Sunday is the wrestling team.
With the Lions.
With Lions. Correct. And if they have a meet that day on Saturday, that changes the complexion of all of this. So how do you route that?
Saturday's our competition day in December. I think every Saturday in December, besides the Christmas Saturday after, we have a tournament, and that we're gone all day. But all of our athletes don't wrestle in the tournament.
Oh, I see.
So usually we have about 10 or so athletes that we can't get into that tournament that weekend, and so they'll work on that Saturday, and then the ones that wrestled on Saturday will work on Sunday when they're free.
That's awesome.
We also, I should have mentioned earlier, the wrestlers start out the Friday right after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So it's before the lot opens, and that's when we bring in the trees.
Right.
So we pick them up and we bring them in, and we have a group of wrestlers there to meet us, and we pull up and they unload all these trees, stack them and sort them. We go back and get another load, and they do the same thing. So, and then Saturday morning we set up the lot, the racks, and they're out bringing those trees and stacking them in the racks.
I see.
So a lot of physical labor there the first couple days.
Are they wrapped with cordage or anything? Do you have to take all of that off?
Yes, they're all wrapped in twine, and so you have to take those all off and stack them up.
Right, get them staged.
Yes.
So who sells the trees on Saturday and Sunday? Is it mostly the wrestlers?
It's the Lions, and then the wrestlers join in when we get busy, and And originally it was, they didn't know the ropes and what was going on, and so they did most of the manual work, hauling things in. But then as they got more comfortable and they listened to our spiel and how we sell trees and you do the Vanna White spinning the trees for people. 'Cause let me tell you, people want to see the whole tree, and so they get out there and they muscle those great big trees out and spin them around, and sometimes they go through 10 or 12 trees before they find the one they like.
Right.
So they've learned a lot about customers and customer satisfaction.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can I buy a vowel?
Man, I wish.
So, what is the location for the Christmas tree sales this year?
It's located in the Sears parking lot on Baker Street. Sears has been gracious enough to allow us to put our lot there on their parking lot and give us a space, and we have a little trailer there that we hide in when the weather's bad, and then the racks are all set up. So at the Sears parking lot.
That's awesome. And with the parking lot also being for U-Haul, do they have to move some of the trucks and such?
Yes, they move a lot of their rolling stock away for us to fit in there, and so they have it another location. So that's very gracious of them to give up.
It is.
That's prime real estate, and we're very appreciative of that.
So when do you start selling trees?
We start selling trees on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which this year is the 30th of November, and we start selling at noon. We set up from 7 in the morning until noon. We're setting everything up, and then at noon we open up, and we're open every day from that point on until we run out of trees. And that could be the day before Christmas, or it could be 3 days before Christmas. It all depends, because in this day and age, Christmas trees are hard to come by, and we buy these in July, and we get allocated.
Sight unseen.
Sight unseen, yes. And then we pick them up, as I said, that Friday before Thanksgiving. They're cut on Thursday, so they're fresh.
Right.
And we just haul them right in, and then we start selling.
So what are the two types of trees that you sell?
So we actually sell 3. I forgot to mention one earlier. We sell Douglas firs, noble firs, and grand firs.
Wow.
And so we get those locally. The nobles and grands we get from a company down by Salem, either at their Salem farm or just north of Corvallis. And then the Douglas firs we get from a local grower here in town, so Carl Kramer.
So when the trees arrive, and we're going to come over to these gentlemen now, what are the first steps that you do?
Well, usually a big truck comes in with all the trees, and we have to take them off, then put them in like some spot to organize them all, and then then after that we gotta set up the stands, do all that stuff.
Then we load them in based on the price, There's different prices based on the different types of trees. We usually put the tall trees on one end, short trees on the other end, split up into 3 different types of trees.
So you talked about prettying them up and getting them all staged and ready to go. So then when you try to sell them, I know you well enough from our conversation the other day, you try to sell them the most expensive tree that you possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's a lot that goes into it where, like, you pull out the expensive tree and you spin it around and you say, wow, this would look really great, though, in your type of living room, And then they say, oh, we don't really know. And you say, it'll look good. So, but if they don't like it, we'll put it back and then we'll go and pull out another tree that they might like.
So what do you enjoy about that in the sales part?
In the sales part, well, last year I wasn't around for much of the sales part. I just did most of the setting up and like putting together the stands. So
So this year you're probably going to get an opportunity to do some of the sales.
Yeah.
And so that's good. I mean, first you learn a job and how that works, and now you're going to learn the sales part of it as well. Are you excited about this season?
It's going to be so much fun. I always look forward to working on the tree lot every year because it's so much fun. Because you get to talk to a bunch of people, and every once in a while somebody's like, hey, what are you doing here? And you're like, well, I'm part of the wrestling team here at McMinnville. And they say, oh, the wrestling team. I've heard they're pretty good. We're going to come out and watch one of your dual meets. And now it's benefiting both groups right there.
That's true. And I encourage you to come to the wrestling program meets. Some are obviously in McMinnville, some are out of town, but is there a website that they can find out when?
Yeah, we have 3 home dual meets this year, and a dual meet is where we wrestle just a single team from our league, and then we have 1 tournament that we're hosting this year, and it'll be a big tournament. I think we have 14 or 15 teams coming.
Wow!
And that's January 4th. It'll be at the high school. And that'll run all day from 9 a.m. to, we'll probably get done about 7 p.m. So lots of good wrestling will be there. And if our schedule is on the McMinnville High School webpage.
Oh, perfect.
So if you go to the athletics tab on there, you can pull up our schedule and it'll have all of our home dates. And
so do you guys try to feed these guys when they're there or anything? Or I can well imagine that could cost some serious money.
Yeah. When it was just Jake as a grandson and I'd take him to the lot, at that time we were located at Colvin Ford.
Yes.
And they graciously gave us the front part of their parking lot, Primo location.
Boy, howdy.
And
Right.
we'd set up there. And unfortunately, McDonald's and Wendy's were right across the street. So there was a little bit of money that left my pocket there to feed him. But most of the guys come now and they bring a lunch or they stop and take a lunch break.
It's part of the drawbacks of being a grandfather.
Yes.
And I know this well.
Yeah.
So what is the average money raised during this event time frame?
So this is our biggest fundraising activity for the year. We've been doing this for over 40 years. Originally, they used to go out into up in the Coast Range, and they would cut trees off of a tree farm, and they were kind of scraggly looking trees, and bring them down. And
Charlie Brown trees,
yeah. And but through the years, it's progressed and certainly gotten more sophisticated, and now we buy all our trees. So we purchase those from people, and in an average year, we'll net around $20,000 to $25,000.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So
the money raised, what does that do in the community?
So all of the money that we raise through this, and we have a couple of other fundraisers.
We'll talk about that.
The money goes towards Vision is the primary mission of Lions worldwide. Improving people's vision. So we provide testing for the grade school students every other year, and we also can provide glasses and corrective measures for people as well. We do 10 scholarships to high school students, seniors, every year. We donate money to the wrestling team. We donate money to the Twilighters and to the Jazz Festival night that happens in January, and then to the medical devices program as well.
Yeah, so, that's a lot of stuff, and that's a good use of the money. So, Coach, how many wrestlers are there on your team, and how do you coordinate all of these wrestlers?
Well,
I wouldn't want to try.
It's tough sometimes. So our season officially starts on Monday, but in average, the last few years, we've had about 30 to 40 kids on our team, and I'm expecting about that same amount of number this year.
In all weight classes?
In all weight classes from 9th grade to 12th grade, yeah. And so it's a good group. Any more than that it gets pretty packed in that wrestling room,
and so hard to handle a little bit.
I got lots of help, but
that's good.
Yeah,
I'm sure you need it.
And so the coordination piece, it's one of the first things we do the first week is let them know the fundraisers that we do throughout the year, and I have a parent meeting and let them know the fundraisers we're doing. And so between the parents and the athletes, I have a sign-up sheet that they can either sign their athlete up for, or the kid can sign themselves up for it. And I ask that each one, does one shift at least, at minimum. And then, like I said, by the time, it makes my job a little bit easier coordinating, because after they've worked that one shift, they realize it's not as bad as it sounds working on a Saturday or Sunday, that it's a pretty fun experience for them. And so they're coming to me asking if there are any more open shifts for the remainder of December, and signing themselves up for a second shift. And
so how many of them sign themselves up versus a parent signing them up to get the work experience, do you think?
I'd say about 75% of the kids sign themselves up, and then we get a handful of them that, I don't know, I'm busy that day, and so the parent says, actually, they're not busy, and we get them signed up. And then they get that experience.
So can you bring that slide back up? Tell us what we're seeing here, Brian.
So the upper left-hand corner shows a little bit of the sign for the Lions tree lot, and that's looking back at some of the racks and people selling things. The top row in the middle is the wrestlers last year, with one of the baled larger trees, and then in the right-hand corner on the top, they're loading the racks. In the second row, the first picture on the left is of a pancake breakfast, which we'll
we're going to talk about that. Yep.
The second one down there is just a group of the wrestlers from last year in a staged photo, and I can't believe there's no horsing around in there or funny.
Yeah, there's no bees coming off of somebody's head.
Because Toby was in the front.
And then the last one on the right is one of our Lions members, Marty, last year dressed up in his Santa.
Yes.
In the bottom row, those are both images from our pancake breakfast.
Okay. Well, we're going to jump to that at the very end. Okay. We've got about 7 minutes left. So, Coach, how many tournaments affect participation in this endeavor?
Like I said, we have in December a tournament every Saturday.
Right.
Some of them vary whether I can enter 14 athletes, a full varsity lineup, and some of them I can enter a varsity and JV, which will be 28 athletes.
Right.
And so coordinating that and figuring out who's wrestling, and if they're not on the varsity or JV lineup for that Saturday, then I ask those athletes to go work on the tree stand.
Right. But it's only on Saturdays.
We only wrestle on Saturday, yeah. And so Sundays will be the varsity guys usually take the Sunday shifts because they aren't wrestling that Sunday.
Which really is, I think, admirable that they go out and they wrestle all day Saturday, and they're wrestling all day, expending a lot of energy and effort.
That's a good thing.
Yes. In those matches, and I've seen my grandsons come back after the wrestling for a day, and these guys, they're tired because they've wrestled for a long period. But then to come in the next day, the other free day of the week, and work the tree lot, it's very admirable that they.
Very encouraging from our young youth members.
Absolutely.
Here.
It's nice to make sure they're not just laying around the house on a Sunday.
I
mean, getting up and moving.
I know at least after a Saturday of wrestling that I like working the tree lot because it feels like a wind down for the week. It's a good way to cool it down and help other people, sell Christmas trees. And I love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday of the year. So just giving that element to someone else in their life is really nice after a day of wrestling.
That's fantastic. So fundraising and service to community, that's both. And what does that mean to each of you, first of all?
Well, I like helping people a lot in this community, and knowing that if I can sell somebody the bigger tree compared to the smaller, cheaper tree, there could be a kid in the school district that gets another pair of glasses or can get their eyes tested. It feels good to help out and be able to sell trees to people and, just raise money for good causes.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a great way because if on Saturday or after my wrestling meets, I would just find myself playing Xbox all day, I'm not going to lie, or playing doing something not productive, but by getting out out of my house, getting outside, helping out in the community, it really makes you feel warm. And like that build up to Christmas, it's good to give back.
Well, the medical devices program, the vision program, the scholarships, and some money to you guys and other things is fantastic for the community members. Beyond just the wrestling team and the Lions Club, this serves an enormous population.
Yes.
And that's so admirable in this day and age. Thank you for all of you for doing all of this. So, why do you guys do this important work? I'm going to start with you, Brian.
I think it's important to give back to the people in the town that you live in and help people out. And at this tree lot, it's not unusual for us to talk to people as we're selling the trees, and they come in, and we quite often hear from somebody that says, when I was a kid, you guys got me a pair of glasses. You tested us, got me a pair of glasses, and I didn't know that I couldn't see. Because if you're out there and all you ever see is the same thing, you don't realize you're not seeing something.
Right.
And it said they say it changes their lives, and that's well worth what we do and helping people out with vision.
I think it's big as I'm teaching these kids on our team that to give back to their community. The interaction they get with adults doesn't happen a lot, in school they're interacting with their classmates. Outside of school, not so much, besides, parents and teachers. And so learning that interaction with adults before they are an adult and moving on out of high school. And, building relationships, getting work experience. And, there's a lot of fundraisers we could do, but going door to door knocking and selling cards and stuff.
That's a whole different thing.
And so I'm not a big fan of that. I'd rather get out and do something that could help make the community better, help the people in the community that need help.
Well, through the programs that the Lions Club offers, you're reaching more population than you could in most fundraising scenarios. So, blessings on all of you.
Well, I really like working at the tree lot. Even if we weren't getting money from it for the wrestling team, I just enjoy coming and, giving people that element of Christmas. Because, most people I know, they usually say that Christmas doesn't start until they get a tree, but I'm there to give it to them. But then, also, this is for a good cause. We're raising money to get people glasses, like my grandpa just said, or test people's eyes, or give scholarships to a senior every year. And it's really nice to think that what I'm doing on my Sunday, my day off, is actually helping someone.
Yeah, the effect of all of this. Go ahead, Lucien.
Yeah, I like to do this because, not all the time you get this opportunity to just go out and help, but it's right in front of my face. Why would I not want to,
That's perfect.
So yeah, and then the experience it gave me with all the stuff that I've been doing, my boss, he tells me that I'm the best one, and then he trusts me the most, and so now when the hay season was over, he had me doing more stuff than that and had me keep on working for him. So
that's great.
It's a great experience and helped out, gave me that jump start that most kids don't have.
There it is, jump start.
Yep.
So the last thing we're going to talk about quickly is the Lions Club annual breakfast. It's your 32nd annual breakfast.
Correct. Every June, it's the Sunday after Father's Day. We have a pancake breakfast out at the airport.
Right.
And we serve ham and eggs and pancakes and coffee, orange juice. And the wrestlers help us with that as well.
Oh, no, not that.
And I'm not sure. We do give them all the free breakfast that they want, and they take advantage of that. And we're happy to feed them because they do all that heavy lifting for us of the big griddles and all the tables and everything else. We really appreciate what they do.
Well, we're going to go backwards from the way we routed in. So thank you, Lucien. Thank you, Jake.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
Jordan.
having us.
It was awesome. You guys did a great job. Thank you so much for watching today. We appreciate all of the feedback that you give us. Be sure and watch it on YouTube if you don't have cable a couple weeks from now. Thanks for watching today.